A very good morning to all my dear students of class 9. Welcome back to my class. Today I am going to begin another new chapter from your book Beehive. And this is the first poem of your book. The name of the poem is The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost, who is a very famous poet. He is known for the use of simple language with which he tried to depict some real life experiences in his poems. This poem, The Road Not Taken, also is about some very important experiences of our life, along with which this poem also gives us a very important lesson. So now let's begin. So I shall first read the first stanza of the poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So, the poet, one day, he went out and he was walking when suddenly he came at a point where he saw that there were two roads which diverged into two directions. Diverged, it means to get divided. I'll show you through a diagram what diverged actually means. Now, if this is the road where the poet was walking by, it diverged into yellow wood. That means the road, it got divided into two different directions. So this is the meaning of diverge. So the poet, he was traveling, he came at a point where he saw that the road, it divided into two different directions. And it dissected into a yellow wood. Now wood means forest. There is a very important significance of the term yellow wood. Yellow wood, it signifies, wood means forest, and the meaning of yellow has a very important significance, which is it symbolizes autumn season. The word yellow, it signifies autumn season. So during autumn season, what happens? The leaves, they turn yellow and they fall down. So therefore, by yellow wood, it means the forest where all the trees, the leaves of the trees had turned yellow. So the poet, he was standing at a point where two roads, they dissected in two different directions, and the roads dissected into a yellow wood. The road diverged into yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both. So he was standing at this point and he was thinking, he was feeling sorry that he could not walk through both the roads at the same time. And being one traveller, long I stood and looked down as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. So he was standing and he was looking to both the roads, and he was trying to see till the point after which the road was not visible to him anymore. Undergrowth means lots of bushes and trees which covered the road and he could not see it. So he tried to look at the road to as far as possible. Now let's go to the second stanza. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So now what happened? There were two roads. One of the road had a better claim. Now what do you mean by better claim? Better claim means it was in a better condition in comparison to the other road. It wanted wear. Now there is a line, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Now grassy and wanted wear means that was a road through which very less people walked. So there were two roads, they diverged road diverged into two directions. So one of the road was travelled by more people, like it was much more used in comparison to the other. So it's not that nobody walked through that road, but it was less travelled. Therefore, then took the other just as fair and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. So he decided to take the road which was less travelled. He thought that it needed people to walk through it. The poet thought when he saw both the roads, he found that one road was worn out. The grasses had dried because people were walking through it now and then. But the other road was less travelled. So he thought that this road also needs people to walk through it, and he decided to walk. Because it was grassy and wanted wear, though it's for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. It's not that nobody travelled through that road, but it was only that in comparison to the other road, this road was less travelled. Now, let's go to the third stanza. And both that morning equally late. But that particular morning, when the poet was standing in front of the road, nobody walked through any of the two roads. So, both that morning equally late. On that morning, both the roads were in the same condition. Nobody walked through them. In leaves, no step had trodden black. Trodden means stepped. When we walk through the leaves continuously, what happens? If you walk through a grassy road every day, the grasses will dry and they will die. But because nobody walked through that road that morning, so there were no steps to be seen, footsteps to be seen on any of the two roads. Trodden means stepped. T-R-O-D-D-E-N. This word trodden means stepped. Nobody stepped on the leaves that were fallen on the road on that particular morning. So it's about both the roads. Oh, I kept the first for another day. So he decided that the first road, that is the road which was travelled by more people, he kept it for some other day. He thought that today I shall walk by the less travelled road, and some other time I shall walk through the road which many people walk by. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. But then he realized, although he thought that I should travel through this road on some other day, but then he realized that it's not possible. Once he travelled through this particular road, the less travelled road, how way leads on to way, he thought that this road may take him to some many new destinations. This road might open up to some other new path. So might be it won't be possible for him to come back again, and walk through the road which was travelled by more people. So although at first he thought that some other day he will walk through the road travelled by more people, again the second thought that came to his mind was it was not possible, because the road that he decided to walk through would take him to some other new directions, and from there it would not be possible for him to come back and walk through the first road. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Now sigh means when we take a long breath, S-I-G-H, sigh. So sigh means when we take a very long breath, that's called sigh. So he's saying that someday after maybe many years, I shall be telling this with a sigh. So with a long breath. Now this long breath can be out of happiness or maybe out of sorrow. So sigh whenever we are happy, then also we might take a long breath, and if we are sad, then also we may take a long breath. So it's not clear what kind of sigh it would be of the poet. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, somewhere years and years after, I might be saying this with a sigh. What will you be saying? Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. So after many years, maybe he will be at that point of time, at that point in his life, where he might be thinking that because I took that road which was travelled less. Therefore, all the differences came in my life. So, simply, this is a poem where the poet was walking one morning and he came at a point where the road diverged into two directions, and he was first confused which road he should take. He found that one road was less traveled because there were less footsteps, the leaves were quite fresh, and the other road was walked by many people because there the leaves were all stepped and they had turned black. But that particular morning, what happened? Nobody walked through any of the two roads. Now he decided to take the road which was travelled by less people. He felt as if that road wanted people to go through it. So he decided to take that road. And then finally, in the end of the poem, he tells us that probably after many years of walking through that road, he might realize that because the road he had chosen, lot of differences came into his life. And also in between, there's another stanza where, what does he tell us? He tells us that he wants to travel through the first road also, the road which is travelled by many people. He wants to travel through that road also. But again, the second thought that came to his mind was, it might not be possible for him to travel through that road again, because the road that he has chosen will take him to many more new directions from where it might not be possible for him to return. And therefore, after many years, it might be that his decision would result into happiness or sadness, but there obviously would be some difference in his life, which would be because of the road he had chosen. Now, my dear students, today I just gave you the line by line explanation of the poem. In my next class, I shall give you the central idea, the message, and what the title actually means. So, with that, I shall end up my class today. Have a nice day. Stay healthy. Stay at home. Thank you.